Ready? Mm-hmm. Welcome back from LA.
I missed you guys.
Missed you too. How much was a can of dip out there?
I didn't even want to look. I'm not a rookie though. I took my roll with me. I went and bought a roll here at the gas station before I actually went there.
Is a roll the same thing as a log?
Yeah.
How many quids are in a log?
God damn it. It lasted me about
It's like
4.5.
It's like six cans, right?
5.
5?
Yeah. Used to be able to, back in the day, you used to be able to get like, so a log or a roll is 5, and then you used to be able to get 10. I remember my dad used to go down to the gas station and come back with like a fucking, stack of Copenhagen like that long. So, but yeah, I think those days are over with now, since you can't find them anywhere. But LA was different. It really was. We didn't spend time in LA except for just flying in there, and then we drove out to Malibu, where we stayed like in a coastal, like mom and pop like hotel / motel, whatever. It was like a bunch of different, like, the best way I can describe it, it was like an old school like motel, but the way the rooms were designed, or the outlook of it, it was like apartments. It was pretty cool. We stayed there for a night, and then we went to this absolute dope ass house. I'll have to show you some videos and stuff when we end here, but it was a $14.2 million house, and it was like a maze trying to get through there. Like, there's like a bridge you walk across, and then there's like an outdoor area where like there's nothing but turf, and then there's like it looked like a fucking helicopter pad, like on top of your
was.
And it was really cool, and it was a great venue. And David and Kata, shout out David, he's my cameraman / magic man for off season. His wife Kata, they got married out there, 2 great people, and it was actually their like second wedding.
Oh,
so they actually got married here, and then David's family is from California, so his dad showed up, and his sister and all that good stuff, and it was a pretty cool reception. But I will say this, I have no desire to go back there.
Ever,
unless I literally just have to, because it was.
Or if you make a bunch of money.
If I make a bunch of money, I'm definitely not going back there, because it'll suck it right out of me.
Yeah, it's an expensive place.
Like I was telling you, like we went there, and the breakfast omelet that I ordered was literally $30, and that was the cheapest thing on the menu. And I was telling Brandon, it was from LAX to the place we were staying in Malibu was 25 miles, and it took us an hour.
No,
An hour, or hour and 20 minutes to get there. But I will say the drive, like down the coast, was pretty dope. And then we got to hang out on the beach one day, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, Malibu's a different place. Have you been up to or down to San Diego?
Mm-mm.
You been up to San Francisco?
That was my first time in California.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a cool spot. That place is huge, but it's obviously gotten a little
It's
crazy.
A different world out there, man.
Yeah, it's literally
still mask country out there.
They separate pretty drastically.
Yeah.
That rain's coming down.
Sometimes you can't tell the difference between the rain and like when the birds get up there and start pecking shit. I don't even know what's even up there for them to eat. I don't know.
Sometimes whenever it's the fall, the leaves are all over the roof, and it blows around and just kind of like runs on the roof.
What's it do? How's it go?
I wish we had a camera on that.
Is there a camera on you?
No.
Oh,
man, that would have been good.
What a missed opportunity.
That would have been good. But
this would have turned into a casting couch thumbnail real quick for the teaser.
Yeah, it was, but it was good though. I missed my flight Sunday morning. Had a little too much fun at the reception Saturday night.
So the 75 strong's going well then.
Yeah, that flew out the window probably 2 weeks in. I guess I'm just not mentally strong enough for it yet. But we'll give it another crack. maybe when I go off the grid come spring.
Yeah, I'm gonna find this hilarious. You're like no haircuts.
No, I'm probably like nothing. Like no, I'll probably get a haircut like before I go, and then just turkey hunt for like 3 months straight.
You're gonna come back looking like Liver King.
That's what he's getting. No, he's gonna look like Gilligan with twice as long hair.
No, I'll probably come looking back like Tom Hanks in Castaway.
Oh God, that'd be
I
hilarious.
will have Wilson with me. It'll be It'll be a trip.
Please do Wilson.
It'll be a trip because I don't know.
Yeah, with a football.
There'll be sometimes.
Hey Arnold.
There'll be sometimes like we're like so. I said David films off season for me. There'll be sometimes where he does weddings and stuff. Like he'll have to meet me some. So like I'll probably have to do a lot of it by myself. But
well, yeah. You did you think he was gonna stay out there the whole time?
No, I didn't.
You're gonna be alone most of the time, right?
I'm alone most of the time already, so ain't gonna be anything different.
There's a difference between being home alone and being in solidarity.
Not really.
What's wrong with this guy? He's gonna lose his mind.
Fuck, I've already lost it. That's been long gone. I think trying to regain it again.
You might need to hit up Aaron Rodgers and see if he's got anything you can take with you.
He was so I was telling Brandon, like the people, like the musicians, actors, actresses, athletes, like all the big money people, they actually live in Malibu. Like they don't live in LA. And so Aaron
or Calabasas.
Yeah, I didn't know Aaron Rodgers was out there in Malibu, but I'd have been like, hey, let's go watch some whales or something. God, there's always sirens going, man.
Right downtown. Yeah. That's what it did. That's what it does.
But Cats had a good weekend.
Yeah. So they're on a 4-game winning streak now, and then Kansas comes in on Saturday.
I saw your tweet last night talking about how you don't like Kansas coming in on a 4-game losing streak. What do you mean by that? Do you think there's like a hungry team? They know it's Kentucky.
Yeah,
to make a statement at Rep Arena.
Well, we punched them in the mouth, beat them by 30 in Fog Island last year, and we were not the better team. Like we outplayed them and beat them. We won the game. Wasn't even close, but the whole scope of the season, they were the better team, and we beat them by 30 on their home floor, and they were already going to be amped up, ready to go, and now they've gotten beat the 3 games leading into this game, so they're going to be fired up. They're going to feel like they got something to prove. I mean, there's a lot going into this, and Bill Self and Cal are not the best friends.
Oh, really?
So, no, they don't like each other at all. So it's going to be, there's the pride thing there.
Make it for an entertaining game, though.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great, and we've obviously lost some pretty bad ones, and. But we've seemed to have corrected the lineups and the rotations. Cal's done a good job the last few games, putting guys in a position to be successful. And offensively, we look a lot better. Defensively, we look a lot better. Fighting through adversity, guys giving more effort than there was a stretch there for a couple games where I was completely turned off by this team because it just looked like there was a lack of effort and preparedness. And now
that's what I got. Was that like I know that I don't know hardly anything about like the X's and O's.
But you don't need to see it.
No, but like it just felt like, or what I saw from a far distance was that like it almost seemed like they just didn't care.
Yeah.
At sometimes, but now like I watched some of the game last night against Vandy. And when it kind of got close there in the first half, I think they were up like 42-40, something like that, and then they just turned it on.
Yeah,
and it was pretty cool to watch. But yeah, they got. It seemed like I'm sure that Cal and some of the leaders on that team, they probably got together, had a little come to Jesus meeting, and realized that this is your opportunity. Mm-hmm. You got the best opportunity in college basketball, and what else could you want?
Yeah. I think for Cal, a lot of it is his job is to put guys in a position to be successful, and that means both schematically with offense and defense, but recruiting the right people, putting the right lineups out on the floor at the right times, making the right play calls, calling timeouts when it's necessary. Like a lot of it's just giving them the opportunity to succeed.
Yeah.
And then you turn it over to the fact that they've been preparing and, you've done your job earlier in the season. But in the moment, put them in a position to succeed. Let them showcase what they've done, what they've worked on. He struggled with the lineups for a while. I mean, and, that's not all him or the staff. I mean, some of the guys weren't stepping up, weren't, given the effort that they might have showed in the practice facility and things like that. But it seems like we've settled in on the lineup and a rotation that we're happy with, comfortable with, that I think can be successful with this team. Severe is a fantastic point guard. He started for the majority of the season at point, and he's a great point guard. He's an All-American point guard. But you have to surround him with the right weapons in order for him to be successful. I think we finally found that role for him, like who needs to be out there when he's out there in order for him to be able to be effective and use those assets to his advantage and for the team to be, successful and keep the pace of play that we're used to and all those things. So he started to figure it out. The starting lineup has gotten a little bit more solid. We're down. I mean, he's ran the same starting lineup I think for the last 4 games. 2 or 3 guys off the bench have played really well. If we get in foul trouble, we go a little bit deeper. But that's kind of like where he likes to settle in. 7, 8 guys, 9 if we get into some foul issues. So team's looking good. Vandy's not very good. So even though we beat them by I think 16, it's not a testament to how good Kentucky can be. Vandy's not that great. Georgia's not that great. We lost to a terrible South Carolina team and a not so great Missouri team on the road.
Pretty good Alabama team, though.
Great Alabama team. Alabama's good. Alabama's good. Arkansas's good. Tennessee's good. There's a few teams that are pretty good. I think that win. Texas A&M that we beat at home is not a bad team, and they have a fantastic coach in Buzz Williams. So this league is up. I don't see any scenario where it would be acceptable for an SEC team to not make the Final Four this year. We should be.
So is the SEC kind of like taking over all of college athletics?
Yeah, all of college athletics,
instead of just football, back in the like going back to the Billy Donovan days at Florida?
Yep. I really think I can't remember the last SEC team to make the Final Four. I feel like it was Auburn in like 2019, I think it was.
So that was Bruce Pearl's bunch.
Yeah. But there's probably 2 potential Final Four teams, maybe 3 in the league this year. Mm-hmm. So we're probably going to lose a couple more games in the league, and there's nothing wrong with that, with the pedigree of play that we're in with this conference. But we do have to win a couple in order to be seeded properly going into March. If we drop some more bad games, then they're gonna point at that South Carolina loss and point at the Missouri loss and whatever else that we might drop the ball on, and they like to punish Kentucky in that way. So we got to take care of business when we can and steal a couple that we might not be favored in. This Kansas one will be huge. They're on a 3-game slide, so everybody's going to say that they're not playing well, and it doesn't mean as much. It's still Kansas. They're going to come in here ranked 10th, I think, in the AP poll. They were like 2 or 3 before they lost these last couple.
Well, I'm sure people had the same kind of feel about when Kentucky went to Knoxville.
Yeah.
Coming off like those 2 bad games, like you said. And I think that win alone was a huge confidence booster
100%
for those guys. It almost seemed like from that game moving forward, like even Cal was coaching with that swagger that he's beloved for.
Yep.
And it seems like now that those guys, have a little pep in their step, have a little bit more confidence in themselves out there and playing, as a cohesive unit. Mm-hmm. And I think, like I said, don't know much about basketball, but I know from a team aspect is that, the more comfortable and more confidence that you have in the guy beside you and just love, trust, and believe in his ability and knowing that you have his back and he has your back, I just think that allows guys to play a lot faster, and I think it allows guys to not think as much, because if you think out there, you're already in trouble.
Yeah, you'd be. I mean, it's the same as football in a lot of ways and a lot of other sports. If you and I are playing together constantly, I mean, every day in practice, and we start to develop that trust like you're talking about and that camaraderie, I know I can gamble a little bit more because I know you're going to be there. I know you got my back. If I go for a steal, you're going to know where to help. Like, oh, he's like, I know where to slide to. I got this. Yeah. And that it comes naturally. It's not something and that happens all the way up through the pros. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets, for instance, had 3 incredible talents on their roster last year that just weren't jiving together. just hadn't played together much. Demand the ball too many. There's not enough.
Do you think that when you get to that level, and even sometimes at Kentucky, is that like those guys are so talented that it's almost like you don't have a role player?
Sometimes there's not enough shots.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like sometimes people, a lot of guys, especially specific to basketball, some play off the ball, some need to have the ball in their hands more often, right? Mm-hmm. And if you put two guys that need to have the ball in their hands all the time on the floor at the same time, then it doesn't jive as well, right? Like Klay Thompson and Steph Curry are as good as they are together because Klay can handle the ball and Steph doesn't want to dribble. Steph wants to handle the ball and Klay doesn't ever want to dribble. Klay wants to come off screens, put one dribble down, get to his spots, get a shot up. Steph is going to kill you with craftiness and speed and maneuver and change of pace and all those things, and just they work so dynamically well together. Steph can get you, he's going to draw all this attention, get you dancing a little bit and attack or pull back to try to take a shot, and you're going to close in, or he's going to attack and the defense is going to close in. He kicks out to Klay wide open. Like, you just learn that dynamic with one another. And
Draymond's just there to beat shit,
bruise, clean up,
battle,
run his mouth. All of it. But that's another thing. Like that Warriors team used to have a guy named David Lee at center, who's a phenomenal center, and he was putting up numbers. Like, he was doing great. I mean, rebounding, baskets, shooting well. I mean, spreading the floor a little bit, but that's a bad example. But he was doing what he was supposed to do. He's the perfect center for the definition of a center with basketball, right? But with the way Steph and Klay play and the way that they were using their rookies and their slashers and things, he wasn't the best fit. So they stuck Draymond in at the 5, let Draymond spread the floor, step out to the three-point line, open the floor up, allow Steph to get into the paint, allow those slashers to get into the paint, completely change the way they play the game, and they start this dynasty.
Start a dynasty. Yeah, that's crazy.
But David Lee was a phenomenal center. You put him on any other team, and he does his thing, and he's an all-star.
Right.
And he's putting up the numbers to be an all-star, but it wasn't the best thing for the team. Kentucky's dealing with a lot of that now, and they're starting to learn what that looks like.
Speaking of all-stars, you called it, dude, last week.
What?
The Bengals beating the Bills. You absolutely did. I was watching a little bit of that game. Obviously, with the time change and everything out there, there were some parts where we were having the reception and whatnot. I couldn't see it, but I had this feeling that the Bengals were going to win this game as soon as I saw the shot they had of Joey B.
Yeah, the spin.
No, not the spin.
Oh.
Of him just sitting in there and that snow blowing on top of him, just sitting in that parka, just
king in the north.
Laser focus, even keel. That game was awesome. I knew, and obviously when they scored on their first drive, I was like, boys, this might be an upset right here. Which I'm really glad they won due to the fact, like we talked about last week with Angelo, was that this didn't end up being a neutral site AFC championship. Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing, he had the coldest response.
Nasty.
At the end of that game, and he said, well, I hope they get those refunds going or whatever it may be. But because they sold like 50,000 tickets.
Yeah.
And I think that was going to be like, if that actually happened, I think that's how the NFL would have went in the direction of hosting conference championship games like that moving forward, because at the end of the day they know that they can make a shit ton of money out of it. And that's literally all the NFL is like, people look at the NFL as like, yes, it's football, but it is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yep.
in the terms of advertising, in the terms of ticket sales, jersey sales, like all that stuff. It all combines into one just big monopoly almost.
Yeah, well, they did their thing. I heard Dan Orlovsky say this, so credit to him, but Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the league, right? He's the best at analyzing a defense and executing offensively the best way to just slice you up and win a ball game. Obviously, Josh Allen's a phenomenal talent. He's a monster. He can beat you with his legs. He's, powerful arm, all that stuff. He's phenomenal at the position. as is what's his name? Who they have this weekend?
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
keep an eye on that though. He went out in that game.
That ankle. Yeah.
But I did see his press conference today when he walked off the stage. One of the reporters didn't zoom in on his, like, he was on side stage as he was coming down. Literally, like, as Patrick Mahomes was giving his closing statements, he had it zoomed in, like, on his foot. Mm-hmm. And the guy was walking fine. And this is only Wednesday.
Yeah, that's good. I want him to be healthy because, like, I want to see. I don't want
you want to see the best versus the best.
I don't want that an excuse.
You don't want an excuse of he was hurt and all that stuff. But they said even like Andy Reid was talking about how he had a bad high ankle sprain week 1 in 2019. He came out week 2 and just diced him up. Yeah. And he said that this one is not as bad as that one.
Yeah.
There's also video released of them practicing, and he was jogging around fine. I didn't see anything about like going full speed or anything, but he seemed to be jogging fine. And you don't take Toradol on a Wednesday, and if he's doing this naturally on a Wednesday, I'd say by Sunday he'll be ready to rock and roll.
I'm sure he's going to be laser focused and ready to go, even if he's in a lot of pain. But the bottom line is, if he can't scramble the way that he's used to, then that offense changes.
Well, that's the key. Is that if Cincinnati wants to win this game, they have got to keep him in the pocket. Mm-hmm. The way that he extends plays and the way that he allows guys like Kelsey, who I think, to be quite honest with you, it seems like sometimes that they'll be in a huddle and have a play call, and then Kelsey will go out there and like run whatever route he feels is going to be open.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Pat, just find me.
I think him and Patrick have their own play calls that no one else knows. Like, they just look at each other.
I'm sure they have like, hand signals, different things like that, because even on the defensive side of things, like for example, like we would have a particular blitz called or whatever, and me and the outside linebacker, so the outside linebacker on that call is the one that's going to be blitzing. Mm-hmm. But let's say that so like I said in football terms before, the Mike linebacker is usually off of number 3, so you're counting outside in, so 1, 2, 3. Usually 3 is either going to be the tight end or the running back, and so that's who you're off of. If there was a chance to where like you had the running back to your side, you're off him, so you and the Sam are on the same side, and there was a chance that running back could flare because of, let's say, a cut split by number 2, meaning that he looks a little bit more cheated inside the hash than he normally would. Mm-hmm. So that gives you a heads up of, okay, this could be a flare out to the boundary and number 2 coming in.
What's the boundary?
Or not to the boundary, to the field, because Mike linebacker plays to the field. So that's like the strong side of the field. It's like where the most open space is. That's the field. And no, I got it wrong. It'd be like the Mike linebacker blitz. So originally I would be blitzing, coming off the edge and taking up number 3. Well, if the outside linebacker or me and him saw something to where we're like, hey, alert the switch, to where if number 3 did flare, we know that we could push one in the zone, mm-hmm. which meaning that the next guy coming in would be my number 3, and then the Sam would take over the blitz instead of me blitzing. So it's just a thing out there to where, and especially on offense, like a quarterback could literally look out there at a receiver or see that they're playing, like, let's say, lazy technique, or they're playing man, and they know that X, Y, or Z is going to happen when they play man, and they have a play called up for that. That's why I love the science of football and stuff, because like you're literally out there playing chess. Yeah. That's all you're doing. And so, like, they could have a guy out there who's supposed to be running, let's say, a 10-yard dig or whatever, but they see a different coverage, they see a different look, and the quarterback may be able to see it first. He looks out the receiver, says, "Hey," gives whatever hand signal that they say to like switch up a route, and they're on the same page of, okay, the route switching up. He sees something that I don't. He's got the signal. Let's go for it. And so it honestly seems that's what it seems like with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce out there, and Travis Kelce's an absolute dog.
Yeah, he's an animal.
And but it's gonna be a good. It's gonna be a good game, man. Like even though Cincinnati's down 3 offensive linemen,
he didn't even
hardly get touched in that game.
Unreal.
And then you got on the flip side, you got San Fran and Philly just absolutely ran through Dallas on that one. And there's been a lot of talk about the last play of the game. Did you see that? Did you see that? I know, but like, and then they had, I think Dallas, like the Dallas Cowboys like Twitter account came out and basically like blasted Dak.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
The headline was like, Dak Prescott turns the ball over 2 times in critical moments for Philly's win or something like that. And it was written by, like, it was a link to the Dallas Cowboys website. So whoever's running that social media over there is probably fired by now, I would say.
Oh, no.
That is insane. But then you look at San Francisco and their defense, man. I'm telling you, everybody wants to talk about their offense and giving credit, what they're doing with Kyle Shanahan, one of the greatest play callers in the league today, if not the greatest play caller in the league today. You got Brock Purdy, who has had a sensational story, being the last pick of the draft, waiting for a shot, coming in. He's thrown 0 interceptions this postseason. You got guys like Christian McCaffrey, who seems like every single time he gets hit is like a train wreck. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, but he just keeps up and keeps on going.
He's a monster.
And then you got Deebo Samuel out there, another freak of an athlete. Then you got George Kittle out there, another freak of an athlete. But then you look at that defense, like we talked about last week. Fred Warner, and people are going to hear me talk about this, so I'm blue in the face about it. But, like, I'm a defensive guy. And he is literally all over the field. That front 7 absolutely crushed the pocket, making God, I can't remember who the fuck they. Who the fuck do they play?
Who
the 49ers play
on
Saturday?
The Cowboys?
No, my bad. I was thinking of something else for some reason. The way that they flushed Dak was unbelievable. And the coverage, sticking to your coverage, passing to your coverage, everything they did was absolutely beautiful. So this is going to be a good game as well. And
what was the final score of the Jags-Chiefs game?
It was close.
Because everybody talked about how good of a job Henne did. He did, but how different would the conversation be if that one that got popped up in the air would have been picked off?
It would have been different. Because Jacksonville played him close.
They dropped that ball. Like, it was in his hands.
Yeah.
And he dropped it.
I was really hoping that the Jags would pull that one off for
I was too, for
Luke
boy.
For Luke and Josh. They got a big $250,000 playoff bonus for that win the previous week. So
yeah.
That's I say they're feeling pretty good about that, but obviously I'm sure they would want to be playing in the
no
AFC
kidding.
Championship game.
I'm just thinking. First off, it's probably going to be Mahomes the whole game. Like I can't imagine, unless he gets hit again or hurt again somehow, that he's not going to play every possession. But
he'll be shot up and on painkillers like no other.
Well, I'm not trying to jump around the games here, but back to what Orlovsky said real quick. So Joe Burrow's the best quarterback, like at the job of quarterback, but Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football.
Athlete.
In football. He's the best player in football.
Are you talking about from an athletic standpoint?
I'm talking about as from a football player.
Overall?
Yeah.
There's a really good argument for that. I think if you're talking about like most athletic, how do you not look at a guy like Lamar Jackson when he's healthy?
Yeah. Either way, my point is I picked the Bengals over the Bills. Tough game, tough game on the road. Especially considered. By the way, not to completely go off on a tangent here, but did you see all this conspiracy stuff about that not being Damar Hamlin?
I didn't want to.
At the game,
I didn't want to touch on that, but he even came out with that picture.
Posted the picture in front of the mural.
This said clone.
Look, I'm a big conspiracy theorist fan. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I love listening to them. I love listening
They're so
to
entertaining.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
It's fun.
I'll listen to anybody's conspiracy theory long enough to laugh. Now, some things that are conspiracy theories I do agree with in a lot of ways.
Like what?
We'll go into that in a second.
Okay.
So the Damar Hamlin thing is bananas. It's ludicrous because what you're saying, just for clarity, what you're saying is that...
This is not our words. This is what we've heard on the internet.
Is that he died on the field or is in critical condition somewhere because of a COVID vaccine situation or whatever, and that his family is just going along with it?
Yeah, I don't see the family being like, oh, my son or my nephew's dead. Let's just keep on going with this narrative. I don't see that happening. I understand that there's a lot of fake stuff in this world nowadays.
Yeah, there's so much. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors.
You can't believe everything that you see or hear.
I did find it incredibly weird.
Like Dolph said, believe nothing that you heard and half of what you saw.
I will say it was bizarre that they didn't show his face when he came in on the golf cart, and then it was weird that the camera that they used to show, like, you could see a figure. You could see like they put the camera on other suites, and you could see very clearly what you were looking at. You couldn't see that. My immediate response was, and Maria and I were watching this and talking about it, is he had a mask on and then the hood up and sunglasses or whatever. I don't know why the sunglasses and the hood, but the mask, I was like, he's probably got oxygen in his nose. He probably had a thing on.
There was nothing.
But that was my immediate reaction, is what I'm saying. And then I start seeing all these tweets. Did you see this? I started seeing all these tweets that, and I could get behind, like, okay, yeah, they wanted to hype the crowd, they wanted to tell the story, whatever. Like, but the alternative, like, what you're saying then is that he's dead or he's on a ventilator somewhere. Well, and everybody's just like going along, like the team, all his family, all the people that work at the stadium, like they're all just like
medical, everybody involved.
The camera people, like everybody from the who's covering the game is just like, oh, he's not doing it. Oh, we can't get a camera close to him. Like,
it could be
what?
It could be like a work like you have in wrestling. Speaking of which, I'm really pissed that I couldn't go to AEW Night with Angelo.
Yeah,
because my duck hunt got canceled.
Well, he just appreciates your text back about it.
I didn't even get a text.
I have 2 extra tickets for it if you want.
You want to go?
No, I don't. But you can go.
I was actually up there at Proof before I came over, and all of them are in there working out. It was pretty cool.
Well, but, little fellas, I got you.
Little fellas.
I got you too if you want them, but I'm not going.
Where they at?
I'm sure they're close.
They ringside?
LM gave them to me.
I might take you up on that. But
I'll text him real quick.
But even like going back to this crazy, bizarre conspiracy theory, even the photos of him in the hospital bed, he had a mask on and all that stuff, which, I mean, and then I saw something where somebody had a screen grab of, like, I don't know if it was a morgue or like
it was the death certificate stuff,
from his hometown, and like listed his parents' names and all that stuff. I'm like, you don't know what to believe nowadays.
I mean,
you
could
like,
anybody could alter that. Here's the bottom line. You're right. You don't know what to believe. If it was to come out that this was orchestrated and faked, like, and I am not in any way saying that it was, but if it came out that this was like the charade that the NFL and whoever behind, with the vaccine type shit was, if all that became public knowledge, I'm done. Like, I'm done.
It's not going to be like, I would be really surprised on the fact
I'd be scared out of my mind
that they did it with someone's life. But then again, I also wouldn't be surprised at the same time.
I'd be scared out of my mind. I'd be scared out of my mind.
We basically I'm not going to say that.
I would be scared out of my mind.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like,
I'd go off the grid with you.
Well, think about the conversation we had that one night in the basement when we were talking about blacklists and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know who's actually pulling the strings on this shit, dude.
Yeah, but that's so bananas.
You don't know.
That's so bananas.
I mean,
give me a.
Okay, for example, like like in the episode last week when we were talking about the girl from Tiger King and her husband, apparently showing up alive.
Yeah.
Like you just really don't know. Like, even with like AI technology and the way that people can cut stuff up. Like, I was sitting there, I was on Instagram the other day, and there was a conversation that literally looked like they were in the same room. It was when David Goggins was on with Joe Rogan, and then there was another comedian that was on with Joe Rogan. 2 separate episodes, but they literally clipped it together to where like it looked like David Goggins was basically calling this comedian a fat piece of shit. And people actually thought it was real. So, like, I mean, I'm not comparing that to, the crazy conspiracy theory with Damar Hamlin and everything. Like, that's just insane, to be quite honest with you.
It's
and
scary.
I mean, like, I don't believe it personally, but
I can't
believe it.
I'm telling you that I can't even bring myself to entertain that thought, because then everything that my faith in humanity is built on is shattered.
I think that at the end of the day, it's. I'm trying to find a way to put this. there's a lot of things like when I look back at like certain situations, not just within like my personal life, but stuff that's went on, you know, throughout history. It just doesn't make sense. Like, it literally just doesn't make sense. Like, there's, you know, conspiracy theories about, you know, how, you know, Adolf Hitler escaped the bunker and, you know, escaped to Argentina. You know, there's when they
the
did
moon landing,
the moon landing,
9/11.
You know, with the Cold War and everything like that. Like, it's just like it all comes back to the point that you really don't know the distance that people are willing to go to either A, push a narrative, or B, sell fear.
Yeah,
because fear sells better than sex.
Here's the way I'm going to respond to this. I don't know what is going on with this world. Like, there's things that are happening behind closed doors that are people that are pulling puppet strings that I don't know and I don't want to know. Because it's scary as hell. But if I don't live in this blissful, ignorant place where I just, you know, then everything that I believe about humanity crumbles. Like, I inherently believe people are good because I have to. Because if I don't,
so you see the good in everybody.
I have to. I believe that people are good. When it boils down to it, I have to believe that people are good. Now, there are evil people that do evil, selfish things all over the planet all the time. But if I let that seep into the way that I think about people, then I don't want to live that way. So I can't entertain it because it's just too.
It sucks. I'll tell you that. It's
too. Okay, I know you're a fickle guy in that way. But if you let that affect like your mindset, like I won't ever trust anybody. I won't ever treat anybody the way I want to be treated. Like I can't think about that. This definitely came off the rails real quick.
Oh, I get that. Like we're trying to make it more like just an open conversation.
But for real though, it's like. It's not that, do I believe that somebody would, you know, go to extreme lengths to cover their ass in any given scenario? Sure. But look at what you're saying. If that's the case, if that's true, then look what else has to be true in order for that to be the way it is, right? Yeah. That is too much.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know.
The simplest, most obvious explanation is usually... Like, even in modern medicine, which I am not qualified to talk about, but
don't get me done.
But even in modern medicine, the general understanding is the likely scenario is like what they default to. Like, for instance, if you're, I heard a doctor that I have listened to in the past when he's doing like a medical analysis or something, whatever it is.
Was that guy you were trying to show me on YouTube that one night?
No. That's not. Okay. That's a scientist. That's something entirely different. But the rule of thumb is he's like, in the medical practice, we have a saying, if you hear hooves and you're in the United States, you don't think zebra. You think horses. Now, if you're in, you know, down under, you might think zebra. But it's usually the most plausible explanation, and that's what they default to. To believe that all these things have happened to like orchestrate that's just bananas. It's ludicrous. Like, Josh Allen went on a podcast and said he was in the locker room before the game talking to us and after the game talking to us.
Yeah, I just don't see how they can be there and be like, "Yeah, guys, listen."
Like, come on.
Listen.
Like, how far are we going to stretch this?
Yeah,
it's nuts.
I just think it's stupid.
And I wouldn't bring this up on this podcast if it was like one tweet some dude baked out of his mind in the basement.
No, it's been
this
all
was like
over.
Mainstream everywhere. People are like, "Oh, I don't know about it." Like
you can't get on TikTok. You can't get on anything without scrolling through a guy talking about the conspiracy theory.
Crazy.
And it's nuts, dude. It really is.
Crazy. Anyway, so, sorry. That was a phenomenal game between the Bengals and the Bills. So I stick with the Bengals this weekend in Arrowhead, or Burrowhead, as your boy Eli put it.
I think they're hot right now, and like we were talking about last week with Angelo, it's not about, you know, who did what in the regular season. It's all about who's the hottest coming in and who's the healthiest.
Yeah.
Even though that, you know...
Are you worried about that line?
That's what I'm saying. Even though Cincinnati's down, you know, 3 offensive linemen, they've shown that they can go on the road in a hostile environment, in cold blizzard-type weather, and still be able to come out and, you know, come out victorious.
What you said about the science of football, like the analytics and everything. I love, especially the more you and I have hung out and I've learned more about it, but I love watching that stuff. So like when I'm
Big
starting
brain football.
Yeah, but I'm starting to see and pay attention more. I always have, because that's like what I love about sports. But watching Joe walk up to that line and analyze what he's looking at, alter a play call, whatever. He knows, like, he's aware of where the blitzes are coming from and all those things. Like, all the good guys, all the best, all quarterbacks are, but the best ones are fantastic at it, right? So he analyzes the defense. He sees where the pressure's coming from. And there was one play in particular I remember where he told Jamar Chase, he's like, hey, scratch that, do this, because I got to get rid of this ball quick because they're coming and we don't have the line for it. And, I mean, the ball was out of his hands in 1 second. Like,
hot route.
Yeah, and he dropped back from under center, went shotgun, called over the running back into motion to come block, to come take the one blitzer, so he had enough time to get the ball off. Hot route to Jamar Chase, first down. And I'm just it happens all the time, every game, right? But seeing him do that, especially at how young of a career he's in, it's fascinating. And he's done it. I mean, think of what he's done, turn this program around as quickly as he did. I watched a video, I'll send it to you, from 2020, and it was a clip of all the audio of all the major, like, ESPN broadcast people talking about how shitty it was that he is going to Cincinnati, which is a dumpster fire, right? Their defense is terrible. They can't protect him. They have no weapons offensively. All this stuff. They're just trashing him. Like, oh, he's never going to win. He's never going to get to into an AFC championship game. All this stuff.
Hell, probably even the playoffs.
And yeah, it was just a collage of sound bites of people talking shit about him. And the clips were him just like going in the weight room, watching film.
Dude's a winner,
going through, just throwing repetitions and all this stuff, and then it ended with him standing in Buffalo with that coat on.
That's probably one of the hardest visuals.
So sick.
Even the spin, like when he, I compare that to like when Steph or somebody throws up a shot and they know it's going in, they just turn around and start jogging back down the court. Like, to have that kind of confidence, but also be so even keel out there, it's got to be mastered out there like that. And he's just a cool dude out there. And I think that not only he makes him feel comfortable, but it makes his teammates feel comfortable knowing that, this guy is so confident in himself and us that we never see him panic. We never see him, not even keel, cool Joe all the time. And I think that what we were talking about earlier with how Kentucky's playing now is that it just gives them more confidence, not only in him but each other. Yeah. Knowing that they can go out there and we know what we're about. We know the identity of this team. We know the identity of this offense. We know how athletic and talented we are. If we go out there and everybody's on the same page and we keep an even keel attitude, no matter what's happening, we can play and beat with anybody in the NFL.
That's why, I'm a big advocate for when players or coaches come out and say, like, keep the clutter out, right? Like, don't look at social media, don't watch the news, don't watch analytics or the analysts. Keep the noise out. And what we're doing in here is all that matters, right? Because there was a period where, he's this highly touted quarterback, but there was a period where they had to grow to where they are now, right?
Oh yeah.
And that means there's vets that are thinking, like, can this kid really get it done? Like, they're watching that stuff on ESPN and they're like, oh, I don't know if he can do it. And then, maybe he comes out and he throws a pick. If that vet is like, shit, man, like, he's not ready for this or whatever, because he's letting that outside noise get in, instead of being like, I watched him work. I watched him put those reps in. I watched him study film. I'm with him. That's my guy. Like, we're going to figure this out. We're going to get through it. That's what this team has done. You can see it. You can literally see it. Like, his boys are coming out like vets that have been in the league way longer than him, that have had success on their own, coming out and being like, that's Joe Cool. We know he's going to do what he's going to do. They're calling it Burrowhead this weekend. Like, they have that much trust in him. And I have no doubt those three linemen that are coming in to back up on offensive line are they're gonna look like starters on Sunday.
Yeah, because that's the way that Cincinnati's built around that organization.
Yeah, but
they knew after that first year when Joe was getting hit more than Couch was when he was in Cleveland, was that we know that our second string guys or our backups have to be just as good as the guys we got starting, because that's the only way we're going to be able to make a playoff push, because we don't have the kind of money to be able to go out and sign, an all-pro left tackle right off from the trade deadline, or in the offseason and everything like that, which I think that's going to be Cincinnati's biggest obstacle coming in the next few off seasons, is getting enough money to not only pay the guys that are there, but get those one or two missing pieces that they're missing to be able not just to be able to make the playoffs or an AFC championship, 2 years in a row. They're trying to build something like Kansas City has,
yeah,
where
they've been
the dominant.
They have a big looming problem. Jamar Chase and Joe Cool are both on rookie contracts.
That's what I'm saying. They need more money.
Joe's about to sign for, probably 215 guaranteed.
Easily. He needs to be the highest paid quarterback in the league.
By far. His deal will be if Jamar Chase. No, Lamar Jackson gets $200 million guaranteed.
He's wanting like 230. I was approved, like they were talking about that. He's wanting 230.
Guaranteed?
I don't know about all guaranteed.
Yeah, he needs, if he gets 230, 200 needs to be guaranteed.
Yeah.
If Joe will get 215 guaranteed at least. And then Jamar's got to sign a deal that's going to be a max contract or a massive contract. I don't know where they get I don't want to say
they'll have to sell probably the naming rights to the stadium. That was one thing I heard somebody talk about, kind of like what UK did with changing from Commonwealth Stadium to Kroger Field.
Laws.
I know there's still cap space laws, but I'm just talking about just be able to get that kind of money, be able to just even keep guys like that.
The issue they're going to have is they talk about I heard a quote saying their championship window is now, and Joe said championship window is as long as I'm here, and that's a badass comment, and that's true, and that's great. But it doesn't change the cap space.
Right.
If he demands that price tag and Jamar and those other weapons,
what do you do?
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm not. I think they're gonna win this Super Bowl.
In all honesty, I love the confidence Joe has talking about his championship windows as long as he's playing. But I think that what everybody else is saying, this is their year to do. If they're going to do it, it's going to be this year. And hell, even like I was talking about with the playoff bonuses, they've won 2 playoff games now. Mm-hmm. So that's $500,000 that those guys have gotten just off playoff bonuses. They win.
I don't think the playoff bonuses affect the cap space.
They don't, but I'm just saying that's more money in their pocket though.
Yeah.
To where I look at almost like Tampa Bay. After they won the Super Bowl a couple years ago, there was a lot of guys that took pay cuts just to be able to keep the guys that they had on that team. I think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and I don't know him from Shaola personally,
would do that.
I think that those are the kind of guys that were I've already got millions and millions of dollars. If I had to take a pay cut from 1 year or 2 years, whatever it may be, in order for you to go out and get those 1 or 2 or 3 missing pieces in order for us to win a Super Bowl, I think they're the kind of guys that would do that. I think they just overall they care about winning more than anything, and those are the kind of guys you want on your team. You want the guys on your team that don't really care about anything else but winning.
I wonder if there's I'm just going to touch on this quickly because I have no idea if I'm speaking out of my ass or not. But for instance, Cal's contract here, right? He's got an ambassador piece that after he's done coaching, if he finishes his career here, that he can get $1 million a year for the rest of forever, right? I wonder if that's legal or possible to put into a contract for somebody like him. Because, for instance, what I'm getting at is okay, I'm worth $215 million guaranteed, $240 million contract, right? I'll take 80% of that. Knock it down 20%, give the 20% to other pieces that we need to keep this team around, but you're going to tack that on to my next one. And if I stay, because I'm here, I'll make my commitment to you now. I'm sticking around. Build the team around me. Let's get a couple rings, then you take care of me on the back end. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that's legal.
I don't know. But at the same time, it's almost like they're signing an NIL deal with the team.
So?
I know. I'm just saying that's crazy. Just one way I look at it.
Yeah.
Like, even if Cal's done here, finishes his career here, like, you think he's going to be making, like, social media posts, like,
I don't think that's what they mean by ambassador. I think it means he's still going to recruit here and, like, go to bat for the program.
See Cal, like, paid advertising with University of Kentucky men's basketball.
Just saying.
Hey, BB, and he's going to look like me out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kentucky Federal Credit Union.
Oh, shit. But yeah, it's setting up to be, another shootout. Last year's AFC Championship was amazing to watch. And this year's NFC Championship is going to be a great one to watch. You got, two great teams over there that are dying to get back to the Super Bowl. I mean, Philly won a couple years ago. The Giants have been, or not the Giants, but the 49ers have been in it a couple times within the last decade. And so, at the end of the day, like, if I'm still picking, like, I believe the Bengals go into Arrowhead, and I believe they win that game. I think they go back to their second straight Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I just think that as long as, nobody gets hurt, knock on wood, as long as nobody gets hurt for really either team, but especially the 49ers, I just think that, we'll see after this game the way that they handle Philly. But I just think that they're too healthy. I think they're too hot of a team right now to not win the Super Bowl. So we'll see how that goes.
Well,
plus, it's in Arizona.
Plus what?
Super Bowl's in Arizona too.
Yeah.
So
the Niners are a 2.5-point underdog
to
the Eagles.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know what the line is for Bengals Chiefs?
I'm gonna say Bengals plus.
Plus?
They're favored?
You think the Chiefs are favored?
I would imagine.
So everybody's been talking about, when I say everybody, I mean like analysts that know more about football than I do, have been saying that the Bengals are the better team even with him healthy, even with Patrick Mahomes healthy.
Wow.
But it's a pick 'em. It's dead even odds.
Really? So that's 50-50. They don't even know. That's wild, man. That's going to be a good game. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
It's going to be dope. What are you doing for it?
I have no idea.
Let's watch it somewhere.
Let's do it.
What are you doing?
You busy?
Sunday?
Yeah. Might need to just set up some GoPros.
Just set up here and we'll live stream it or whatever.
It's going to be a fun one.
Talk through both games, but it should be fun.
Let's end on that. Let's pick them and pick the Super Bowl. So you got Niners over Eagles, Bengals over Chiefs.
Eagles, Bengals over Chiefs, and then I got the 49ers
over the Bengals. I've got the same two in the divisionals, and then I've got Bengals over Niners.
Do you know what the city of Cincinnati would do if the Bengals won the freaking Super Bowl?
All right, since we're on that, So I went to Cincinnati last year to watch the game, and I was actually in Kansas City when Kansas City won in Miami, which was awesome. So fun.
By the way, before you get into this, did you see where Zach Taylor got off the plane after their win last week and went straight to a bar again?
Yeah, so cool.
And was just standing on top of the bar. And I mean, like, that's what
he's for the people, man.
Like, he's just a dude, man. That's what I love about it.
Is it the hammer? Is that Daryl Isaac's slogan, for the people? No, John Morgan and Morgan.
The hammer looks like he could take somebody on.
That's what he needs to do. Zach Taylor needs a Morgan and Morgan deal for the people. He is. I like him a lot. I like the locker room speech afterwards. Very cool.
He's a dog.
But here's my question. We'll end on this. I have never been. I was a Boomer fan, Boomer Esiason back in the day with the Bengals.
You are old.
I know. I've never been a diehard. I've never had like a diehard NFL team. I've always, wanted to like the Titans because I'm a huge Nashville fan. I'm in Nashville all the time, but never really got behind them. I stuck with Green Bay when Randall went there because I am a fan of Randall, so I loved watching him play. But I'm more a component for players than I am a team.
Yeah, I'm always. I'm not always, but now that I'm out of it, or once I got into college and everything, like, your favorite team kind of goes out the window because you're wanting to end up playing for any of those 32 teams.
Yeah.
So where you just start focusing on, the talents of the players and becoming fans of them.
So I'm a fan of players. I'm a fan of the work ethic and the talent and the way they represent themselves and their programs and everything. So with all that said, I ordered my Joe Burrow jersey, and I will be going nuts with the Bengals if they win. And I'll be hurt if they lose.
So you're basically saying you're a bandwagon.
That's why I was getting at. I don't see that as bandwagon. I don't. Like I'm asking. Like I was a Joe Burrow fan when he was at LSU, and I was happy that he got drafted to Cincinnati because it's close and I could go see him play.
You sound like every other person in the state of Kentucky, though.
I believe that, but I also don't know that it's bandwagon. I think it's just like.
You might be. I don't know if you're like fully on the bandwagon, but if there's like a trailer attached to it, like you might be on that.
What if I'm driving the truck that the bandwagon's attached to?
Well, the bandwagon is. I'm pretty sure it's about horses.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it's horses.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you know?
I think bandwagon.
I know that you can't stop from coughing every time we're recording. It's 6 months strong. I've never heard you cough unless you're in front of a microphone.
He just saves
I
it.
don't even cough on my own show.
He just saves it.
You had COVID like 3 months ago. Never coughed. Put a mic in front of your face.
It's true.
All right, who's your pick? Do you have a pick?
I'm going to go San Francisco.
Yep.
right.
I feel like, so I haven't been able to follow tons of NFL coverage this year. But I feel like any of the games that I've watched with Cincinnati, there's always been something, you guys talk about the eye test. There's always been something to the eye test that seemed like it gets squandered. And it just, there's something that makes me lack confidence in that.
So you're
that when it comes down to the wire,
they don't have the it. They don't have the
For the
it,
Bengals?
They don't have the it factor.
yep.
I think they do have the
I think Joe Burrow
There's a lot of
has.
strength.
I think he's like the definition of the it factor.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they define it. Yeah. I'm not arguing that the Niners are fantastic. I really think that they'll find a way. I really think they'll find a way.
We'll see.
All right.
All that will be entailed. We'll see y'all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Be a friend, tell a friend.